Okay, finally got my good friend John Travolta on the phone. John is a novelist from Cambridge, Maryland, and he's taken time from his busy writing schedule to tell us about his writing schedule. So is the line hot, John?
Yep, I hear you loud and clear. I'm just finishing up the last clause of the second chapter of my book.
So what are you working on, John?
Well, I've just been totally encased in an excellent book it's about a lot of things. It's about a man. It starts out with a man waking up and looking around and thinking, where am I? And I'll tell you one thing, he doesn't find out in the first chapter where he is or what he's doing or who put him there. It's a mystery. So actually it's a thriller, which I like to call thristery, and it's my cup of tea. I don't know, a lot of people don't like that.
Alright, John. What about, I know you've written good, because that's basically just totally all overused stuff. Don't you have anything? You must have stuff that's down deep in the closet because it's too wild for the general public. Because I've heard you, while we lingered over some cognacs, you have told me some things that were weird, and tell me what they are now, because I know you got them.
Well, of course, you see, I'm one of those struggling writers, and I'm only writing this story, which is called The Guess. I'm only writing that story because, well, you see, I need some grocery money, some quick grocery money. I woke up today and I looked in my refrigerator and I was thinking it was getting a little bare. So I just figured, I should probably write just a quick little thing to tide me over until I can finish my real work, because I am working on a lot of, and this is what it is. The story that I'm really getting interested in is actually about a den of alchemists. Well, it's about fungi from a den of alchemists hunting the army of a telekinetic undead demon and its temple of vampires.
Now that is what I'm talking about, John T. That is the guy I went to school for fiction writing with.
Yes, Peter, I will tell you a little bit more about my work. You see, the fungus in the story, actually there's more than one. They're living fungi, and they travel to this army that belongs to this telekinetic undead demon, and they have some difficulty defeating said army. You could say that in many cases they threw the baby out with the proverbial bathwater in their attempts to defeat the telekinetic undead demon's army, which I trust you believe me when I tell you, Peter, that it is a formidable army indeed.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that with all of my mind. That's just such a cool idea. Tell me again. It's just the very summary is music.
You got it, Peter. Fungi from a den of ancient alchemists hunt the army of a telekinetic undead demon and its temple of vampires.
Oh man, so I want to get into the temple of vampires. I want to get into the den. What I want to know is the ancient alchemist, how old are they? You know what I mean? It's just you just can't escape from the compelling points. I'm just compelled by every part of that summary, and it just kicks ass, if I do say so myself. I mean, if you will let me say so, Johnny boy.
Thank you. That is precisely the reaction I crave for my audience, which I am lucky enough to now be enjoying a bigger amount of these days.
Yeah, it wasn't always easy for you, I guess, Johnny. Back in our college days, when we lingered over cognacs at the Omega Epsilon Kappa Lounge, you were always saying how hard it was for you. How's it been going?
Well, as I say, I'm what's called a struggling writer.
But I'm just saying, like, where did you start out? Like, why did you start writing?
Well, that's a very simple answer, Peter. I started writing because I had to live. I had to buy groceries and I had to pay my rent. So I would have to write, and I still do. I have to write to support my groceries and my rent. If I need groceries or rent, I can't just go work at the burger restaurant. My options are limited. I'll have to write another 5,000 words today is what I think when my stomach rumbles and there's nothing in the refrigerator. I guess I'll just have to quickly doff something off and get, $20-$30 for it. Just after I send it into a magazine or something, and they'll give me $30, and I'll think, well, I can get some groceries with this, but I'll have to put some aside for my rent as well.
Wow, that's a sad story, John. You must really be, someone who can rely on their fiction to get them out of financial issues. That's, I can't think of a greater struggle than that. Some people get to just go on Craigslist and look for a janitor job at a zoo. And kind of cushy, but what choice do you have? Not everybody can be janitors at a zoo. You just have to, you do what you can. You write and you send a story into some magazine and they just give you money. And that's what happens. That's, kind of the reality it is for the very bottom rung of writers. It's not easy, John, and I feel ya. I quit writing fiction.
Well, that's very interesting, Peter. I wish I had that kind of luxury, but I just...
Yeah, I know, you kind of trapped yourself in there. Well, I'm a box man at the moment. I bale cardboard in the back room of the local department store, and it's been pretty cool. I don't want to show off or anything. I know you're a struggling writer, and you can't really do...
No, of course, Peter, I totally understand. I'd love to hear about your career success.
Well, it was really just about when I quit writing fiction, when I got really, all about got this job as a cardboard baler, and I learned about how to bale cardboard, and since it's the back house kind of stuff, we all get to just curse all the time, and we don't have to worry about customers. Whereas you think about all the people how many people would you say read your fiction week by week?
Somewhere around, well, on a good week, I'd say maybe 1,000. Nothing really to write home about.
Yeah, that's cute. But I was kind of going a different tack. That's actually crappy for you because all those that 1,000 people read your story, and if they don't like it, you're in big trouble. But me, at work, my speech is kind of equivalent to your text, and I can say whatever I want, and they won't get mad. Whatever. We get into ribs once in a while, but no big deal. But you have to worry about all your all your audience getting mad. Like if you write the wrong thing, people will get mad at you and think you're... One of the things that really scared me, not that this show's about me, it's, I got you on the phone and everything, and I'm really thanks a lot.
Oh, no, of course, I love talking to you. This is such an excellent opportunity for us to reconnect about the people who we've become, the people who we were, and the people who will be in the year 2016 and the future.
Yeah, so the biggest worry I had with my stories is that, I would like accidentally write something and people would think it's like sexist or something. Like I was always scared, like, or racist or whatever. Like I always thought like I would, I have like unconscious evil predilections, and they would only come out through my fiction, and everybody would see it but me. Like I wouldn't see it until I showed it to people, and then they'd be like, "Oh my God, Peter! What? I had no idea."
Oh, Peter, listen to me when I say these words to you in your presence. I have that exact same worry. But, luckily, I've never been accused of being anything bad.
Well, me neither.
Well, that makes two of us, my good friend. So, yes, I have to write a great deal, unfortunately, to make ends meet. I'm not quite as blessed as some other people. I have to write to live, because that's the only way for me to...
Yeah, I heard you. It's really sad that you're able to rely on your writing to solve financial... We already went over this, and it really sucks. Thanks for showing up on the show. Where are you calling from again?
Cambridge, Maryland.
Yeah, it's a great town. I drove through there once. I mean, I really hope it works out for you.
The subsequent tour, Pop Mart, commenced in April 1997. Like Zoo TV, it poked...
I never put the speech at the Congress. He listened to my speech and clapped his hands before others.
So I'm back with my friend John Travolta. He and I went to school together for fiction writing. I was lucky enough to quit. He still has to work at it. So writing's your day job. Do you have any... I guess you might not have any time to really do anything else except...
Well, I also like to collect little... Actually, I would like to point one thing out to you, Peter, that I was kind of holding back a little bit, but I can't anymore. So, I've noticed in a lot of your episodes, you read from, for example, I believe you were reading in one episode from the Jain text, the Sutra Kirtanga, and in episodes previous to that, you were reading from the Buddhist text, the Compendium on Reality, and I would just like to say that you seem like you don't realize that there are real people who believe those things, and you think it's just some kind of a joke or something.
Whoa, no, I don't think... Are you kidding me? No way. Maybe I'm not being quite as reverent as maybe I should, but...
All I'm trying to tell you, Peter, is that I am currently accusing you publicly of being bad. I'm accusing you of doing a bad thing in regards to the Buddhist and Jain religions. There are real people who are Buddhists, and you should not make fun of them, and there are real people who are Jains, and you should not make fun of them. And so I am saying that you are a bigot.
That's really scary. I don't like that. What do you think? Should I delete them, or should I offer an apology? The thing is, I'm not even quite sure what I did wrong. I just think I think the Sutra Kirtanga is cool, and I think the Compendium on Reality was cool when I read it.
That's exactly the problem, though. They're not supposed to be cool. You're supposed to study them and understand them and not joke about them.
Well, I'm not joking about them. I'm just reading them because I like them. And hey, maybe people don't know about this stuff, and it'll get people to read about it and have a more erudite opinion on Indian philosophy and religion.
Well, maybe it will, maybe it won't, but who are you to say?
Well, who are you? Are you a Buddhist or a Jain?
Well, no, I'm not. I follow the Ajivika philosophy.
Ajivika? What? I never heard of that.
Well, buckle up, Pedro, because I'm about to take you on a wild ride.
Okay.
Here I quote from the Encyclopedia Britannica entry for the Ajivika philosophy, but trust that this entry and my particular philosophical views are entirely at one. For you see, Peter, Ajivika, an ascetic sect that emerged in India about the same time as Buddhism and Jainism, lasted until the 14th century. Except for me, I'm still here. The name may mean following the ascetic way of life. It was founded by Goshala Maskariputra, also called Gosala Makaliputa, which I believe the former is Sanskrit and the latter is Pali. Goshala Maskariputra, a friend of Mahavira, the 24th Tirthankara of Jainism. His doctrines and those of his followers are known only from Buddhist and Jain sources, which state that he was lowborn and died after a quarrel with Mahavira shortly before the Buddha died, whereas other groups believed that an individual can better his or her lot in the course of transmigration. The Ajivikas supposedly held that the affairs of the entire universe were ordered by a cosmic force called Niyati, which is Sanskrit for rule or destiny, that determined all events, including an individual's fate, to the last detail, and that barred personal efforts to change or accelerate improvement towards one's spiritual destiny. As a result of this static and melancholy view of the human condition, the Ajivikas practiced austerities rather than pursue any purposeful goal.
You don't sound like an Ajivika to me, John.
Well, what do you know?
I don't know what I don't know. Or know what I know. Thanks, John. It was good talking to you. I got a letter today in a scary black envelope, but I opened it up, and it wasn't so scary. I mean, the contents wasn't scary. I thought it was going to be a description of hell or something, but it wasn't. I thought it was going to be some kind of necromantical screams, but I was wrong. It's called, well, I'll just read it. It says, "Hey Peter, read this. It's called The Fifth Lecture, Freedom from Error, Sutra Kirtanga, Book 2, starting with text 1, 2, and then the last number of the number of the last text is smudged, so I don't know what it says. But now it says, a very clever monk who practices the vow of chastity should not adopt the following heretical doctrines, nor behave badly in this religion. He should not believe that this world is without beginning or without end, eternal or not eternal, according to the argumentation of heretics." Let's see, and there's a footnote here. The Jainas decide all such questions with the help of the Syadvada, which in an admirable way removes all difficulties. For example, the world is eternal as far as that part is concerned, which is the substratum of the idea, samanya, world. It is not eternal as far as its ever-changing state is meant. From these return to text. From these alternatives you cannot arrive at truth. From these alternatives you are certainly led to error. One should not say that there will be an end of beings who know and teach the truth, nor that all beings are not alike, nor that they shall be in perpetual bondage, or that the prophets are eternal. From these alternatives you cannot arrive at truth, etc. One should not say the guilt of killing small and great animals is the same, or not the same, from these alternatives, etc. One should know that those who accept things especially prepared for them will be affected by demerit in some cases, or will not be affected, where it is allowed by Scripture. Do not maintain that the world does not exist. Do not maintain that Jiva and Ajiva do not exist. Do not maintain that Dharma and Adharma do not exist. Do not maintain that bondage and liberation do not exist. Don't maintain that virtue and vice don't exist. Don't maintain that asrava and the stoppage of asrava don't exist. And don't maintain... Oh, there's a lot more. Maybe I'll read some of these later on. Thank you. Oh, the person who sent this to me is named F. Risp. So thank you very much.